Polls show that President Obama and Mitt Romney are in a dead heat, but Mitt Romney is winning on Wall Street. According to new data from the Center for Responsive Politics, the Obama camp has raised $3 million. That is a pittance compared to the $8.5 million that the security and investment industry has contributed to Mitt Romney. Now, compare that to 4 years ago. Candidate Obama back then raised $16 million compared to his rival, John McCain, $9.2 million. So what explains this shift? One reason could be that criticism of Wall Street has been a staple of the Obama presidency.
Large banks engaged in reckless financial speculation without regard for the consequences. Not everybody's been following the rules. That Wall Street is an example of that.
That is what the president said, but what has he actually done? Well, let's start back in 2008. Right before President Obama took office, President Bush signed TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, into law in order to stabilize Wall Street and prop up the auto sector. Taxpayers are still owed about $119 billion, according to the Special Inspector General who oversees that. In order to get the economy moving again, Congress passed the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, the stimulus bill. President Obama signed it into law in February of 2009. 1 year later, the president signed the health care reform into law. No Republicans in either house voted for that bill. 4 months after that, the president signed the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. One key provision of that law was the Volcker Rule, which was designed to stop banks from making risky trades on their own account. Dodd-Frank also established the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Fast forward to this year, and we find the president unveiling a plan to cut the corporate tax rate from 35% to 28% and to close dozens of loopholes. Don Peebles is the CEO of the Peebles Corporation and a member of President Obama's National Finance Committee. John Fund is a national affairs columnist for National Review magazine. John, as a conservative, what is the number one reason why Wall Street has not had the ability to shed its tone deafness and say, we really were responsible for a lot of this stuff, and maybe the president was, politicking a little bit, but, why won't they get behind the fact that this is a guy who's actually been relatively friendly to them?
Well,
You look shocked at the premise.
I am, because Wall Street shares with Main Street and average Americans the same goals, which are a stable, prosperous, growing economy. The economic recovery began 3 years ago this month, and how's it been doing? President Obama said, you passed my stimulus bill, unemployment will not go over 8%. That was his administration that said that. It just went up to 8.2. Economic growth last quarter, 1.9%. Stock market flat the last 15 months. How's that working out for us? I don't care whether it's Main Street or Wall Street, we expect results. And after 3.5 years, there's only so much you can blame the previous administration. At some point, you got to own the economy. And guess what? This recovery is the most anemic in modern American history. 8.2% unemployment 3 years in. Does anyone think that's working?
Don?
I'm almost laughing over here because they left us with the biggest mess since the Great Depression.
The blame game.
No, it's not the blame game. No, it's called accountability, not blaming. When you guys left office, there was.
It's not my guys. I never voted for George W. Bush.
When the conservatives stopped wreaking havoc on our country, we were losing 400,000 jobs a month. Now we're gaining on an average of 168,000 jobs a month. Rome wasn't built overnight, and we need to exercise some patience. Also, look, the president's policies are working. We're making progress. We've had 26 consecutive months of job growth since he's taken office. He took office at the time when the country was at its weakest since the Great Depression. He has cut taxes 18 times for small business.
What's the uncertainty in the economy? Much of it has to do with things that the president can't have any effect over, right?
He's getting more blame than he should, just as presidents get more credit when the economy gets better.
You've actually said something that isn't blaming President Obama.
No, but the bottom line is, at some point, you have to accept some responsibility.
Right.
And at this point, I hear blame for a previous administration, which deserves some blame, but the president has refused to accept responsibility.
Look, this administration can do more. Congress can do a hell of a lot more. And the president...
So what are their failings? Tell me what their failings
the
have been.
administration's failings
Yes,
have
what are
been?
the failings?
Oh, I think that the administration should put more emphasis on job creation. I think it was a distraction.
Instead,
I
they
think
did Obamacare. Look, how's that working out?
Obamacare's not
amazing.
anything. It's not in place. Is there a
about to be
single
declared
job that hasn't been
unconstitutional.
created because of what you call Obamacare?
In January,
just please, one
in January
place.
2009,
John, you're a smart guy.
in January 2009, the
answer
president
my
came
question.
in.
You're a
and he
smart guy. Is there one job that has not been created or one American who has been laid off? And please, if you see it out there, tweet me and tell me. One job that has been lost or not created because of what you call Obamacare. Just answer that. Do you know anybody in this country of 310 million people who didn't hire anybody because of a pending decision on Obamacare?
I know an employer in Louisville, Kentucky, I just spoke with the other day, who was about to drop health care insurance for all of his employees because he doesn't believe that Obamacare is going to work, and Obamacare creates incentives for people to drop employer coverage and throw them into the general pool.
That could be a good argument.
And they've also laid off 3 people because their health care insurance costs just went up 37%.
My health care costs go up 26% each year. I don't blame that on Obamacare. It's been doing that all through Bush's tenure as well. The reality is health care in America is out of whack.
Obamacare passed,
he's the
has
first
health insurance inflation increased?
He's the first president who's attempted to tackle this issue.
Health care inflation
has been going up for years.
It has increased since Obamacare passed.
It's actually, the increase we got this year is smaller than we've had in years gone by. Look, how many people work for you?
I'm self-employed.
Okay, so how many people? You have anybody working for you?
I'm self-employed.
Okay, well, I have employees. I'm small business too, and I started off my company with $600. And by the way, I prospered under Ronald Reagan, under George Bush, under Bill Clinton, and under Barack Obama. Our business is now growing this year. The reality is who the president of the United States is has some impact on business and some impact on the economy, but we as business people, we as American citizens also have to accept some responsibility here too. And the fact of the matter is banks are getting rewarded every day for not making loans. They're not making loans to small businesses who are going to create the jobs. Wall Street has conducted itself for decades as though they're a casino in Las Vegas where you get to play with the house's money with no accountability. So if you win,
never have bailed them out.
Right. And I hope we agree with you on that.
You said you had to bail them out.
I'm ending this segment right now. We have agreement. Gentlemen, we must do this again.
He now agrees we shouldn't have bailed out Wall Street and the banks, but he said something different 5 minutes ago.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
All right.
No, I didn't.
We will have you guys back for this conversation. Thank you to Don Peebles. He's the CEO of the Peebles Corporation, and John Fund, National Affairs columnist at National Review. Coming up next, Washington is, as you've heard, gridlocked.